Yeah, this is the man who's known Mr. Trump, President-elect Trump, as we must now call him, for more than 30 years in business and as a neighbour of his in Trump Tower. And he was there as the results were coming in about 2 a.m. this morning, when it was really becoming clear that Donald Trump would have this stunning political upset. I mean, pick your superlative. And apparently Mr. Trump, not a man known for his self-doubt, was a little nervous, a little hesitant. This man said to me, he is nervous, but he is happy. And Mike Pence, in the view of this man standing just a few yards away from them, was the calm one in that situation. I think you could forgive Donald Trump a little nervousness standing on this precipice, seeing the entire electoral landscape remade. And of course, he was right and pretty much everybody else was wrong. I think we're going to have to stop talking about opinion polls in the run-up to contests like these. The opinion polls were wrong. The media was wrong. There's a lot of self-examination by the media this morning, the big papers wondering how they could have so misread the American public. We should note, however, that the popular vote is still very, very tight. It is a landslide in the Electoral College, as we were seeing in the report, but still neck and neck in the popular vote. And it is still possible that Hillary Clinton could win the popular vote, but of course losing those Electoral College votes that decide who enters the Oval Office.
The American people, just like the rest of the world, we're processing, what that means, and then what it will mean for domestic policy, what it will mean for America's relationship, with the rest of the world. I think it's important to reemphasize that, notwithstanding a change in the Oval Office, the United States as a global power does not necessarily, its interests don't change, so that, the United States has a policy for every nook and cranny in the world, and many of those don't change from this one administration to the next. But obviously, if Mr. Trump has a mandate, it is defeat the Islamic State. It is not necessarily to get more deeply involved in Syria. It is to try to find common ground with allies and antagonists, and obviously the world will get a vote. He will inherit a world, and that, particularly in the early stages of a Trump administration, will dictate how he needs to respond to those challenges that he inherits.
But PJ, Donald Trump promised a Brexit plus. We saw perhaps a result in the Colombian referendum that people weren't expecting. How has the situation here been misread in such a way? How have the pollsters, how have the experts, how has everyone got it so wrong?
Expressed in terms of that agreement, and we saw it last night. The anti-establishment candidate won. The unconventional candidate won. That is going to have an impact on America. He can find ways to overcome that rhetoric. But certainly we'll see what he does in terms of I mean, he left himself some wiggle room in terms of the deal with Iran. His rhetoric was less strident than that. He'll try to find common ground, but he will also face obviously one of the decisions they have to make is what does the next president do about Russia's activities in this very election. He may let Putin off the hook. We'll have to wait and see. But clearly, in terms of the relationship with Russia, notwithstanding his desire to find some accommodation with Mr. Putin, that's a relationship where the areas of cooperation are narrowing. That was true of George W. Bush. It was true of Barack Obama. And I think it's going to be true of Donald Trump.
Narendra Modi congratulating Donald Trump, tweeting, "We look forward to working with you closely to take India-US bilateral ties to a new